is double chapter this time of Nanatsu no Taizai, chapter 267 and 268, and therefore it's those two chapters in one review, a pretty long one. First of all, this is the Angry MF and the Despair reviewer. As the Estarossas keep getting out of control, we see I hope not. Sorry, I just got a little paranoid thinking something happened which I didn't want to happen. So, well, either way, Elizabeth managed to get out of Estarossa's grip. As she looks at where she realizes it's the remains of the Heavens Theater, which was apparently a place where Meliodas and Elizabeth met in secret 3,000 years ago. I guess that when they began the Romeo and Juliet-like relationship. But then suddenly Estarossa begins to talk. I remembered I've always watched you. As King joins the two other archangels, since he is the only one who can fly, Derere says she needs also to join. Of course, no one wants to believe that she is to join, because after all she cannot be trustworthy. It's during this time that King actually flies forward and says, I trust her. Because after all, he saw the pain she went through in the flashback. Therefore, he knows what kind of person she really is. But she also translates by saying, I more accurately trust Lady Elizabeth, who once risked her own life to protect you too. So with that, the archangels give in, although they still call the Seven Deadly Sins weirdos. As the four people fly off towards the heavenly arena, Elizabeth remembers a bit about Estarossa. Apparently a long time ago he wasn't a sociopathic monster like he was now. He was actually a very lonely man, and who did not have the power of darkness, and therefore was laughed behind his back. No wonder he turned so twisted. After all, I guess he became something he wasn't originally before, because, well, he wanted to destroy those people that laughed at him. But strangely enough, the only two people who didn't laugh at him was Elizabeth and Meliodas. I'm saying strangely because Meliodas was supposed to be a monster back then, so how come he didn't laugh at him? Or maybe this was the time when he lost his sociopathic side. The thing is, he's also saying that he envied his brother because Meliodas will very likely absorb the Ten Commandments without any problem. But he also always, even though he felt like Meliodas was strong-hearted and reliable, full of confidence, he was always the one who protected Estarossa. Whatever troublesome worries you have, you can tell me anything instead. But when Estarossa told him that he was also falling in love with Elizabeth, all he said is, I'll try to work things out between you and Elizabeth. However, according to Elizabeth, that's not what Meliodas said. But we don't know if that's true enough. As Estarossa's commandments get out of control, a voice is also speaking to her, telling help. Meaning that now, officially, Estarossa is no longer Estarossa, but a pumble of dark commandment energy. Elsewhere in the Camelot Castle, another dark energy is enveloping it. But unlike Estarossa, it is slowly under control, because, well, he is just absorbing that. In a dark cocoon with a twisted symbol, sleeps Meliodas, who slowly is absorbing the Ten Commandments. Soon we will have a very dangerous antagonist on our hand. And strangely enough, we're getting a double chapter this week. And the other one is chapter 268. We're finally actually going back towards a comrade we haven't seen in a couple of months. And we don't know what he has been doing. Well, apparently he has spent a couple of centuries in Purgatory. Yes, it is Ban who manages to break free from a demon's curse, as he actually begins to talk about, as he has begun to talk to himself. Apparently Ban has been in Purgatory for centuries. Given that he's immortal, he is not aging anyway, so he can't be there in centuries. The only thing that keeps him going is uh, actually the memories of finding. No, the desire to find his captain's memories, as well as Elaine. He was also close to being turning into a Purgatory demon, revealing that a lot of people, they get to Purgatory and get swallowed by it and do not escape, which they never do, turns into grotesque monsters. Uh, so yeah, Ban has been going here for a very long time as his wounds try to adapt to the different Purgatory things. His hair has grown and he's grown a beard, and for some strange reason he is naked. I'm saying for some strange reason because, well, what happened? But I guess when you live 10,000 years in Purgatory, your clothes get burned off. And he has apparently lived so long that he's actually begun to keep his sanity in check. He has begun to talk to himself. I wonder how that will feel if he returns to the thing. But he desperately still searches for the captain's spirit as he keeps on suffering many different wounds, get attacked by many different demons, and still crushes them and proclaims to Purgatory that he will not die here. It's during this time also he fights one demon that even gives him a clean shave. I guess in the end maybe he has gotten a little bit stronger. As he has fought that demon for decades, he suddenly falls down feeling sleepy. But then he is actually sitting beside the same demon he once fought that has actually grown attached to him. As he still asks about desires to see Elaine, he also desires to see the captain. Suddenly he hears a familiar voice, and it turns out that the demon that he may very well have been battling turned out to be Meliodas, as he finally reaches Meliodas, who also is naked in Purgatory. Well, that was a scene I didn't need to see, but the two best friends are finally united. The good memories of Meliodas are finally found by Ban. The question is, now what? Well, that's the question, isn't it? Now that Ban has officially found the good side of Meliodas, how will he escape Purgatory? After all, he has been here for a very long time, so one wonders exactly how he will escape. Still, these are those two chapters. I don't really know what to say about them. I mean, they weren't necessarily bad. Estarossa's flashback made a little bit more sense. Although I still feel like he's a bit of an unforgivable monster, I can relate to that feeling, when you feel so inferior that you in the end turn into something you're not, just to prove a point. He turned into a monster he wasn't because he was tired of having everyone laugh at him. And his growing hatred towards Meliodas was not only because he became what he didn't want him to become, it was because in the end he felt Meliodas did nothing for his feelings against Elizabeth. Ban's chapter, well, it was a little bit disturbing seeing him walking through Purgatory, and especially naked and all. But it's still pretty amazing that Ban has been able to keep his willpower even in 10,000 years that pass in Purgatory. He's immortal, so that's perfectly okay. But to search 10,000 years for his best friend, that is dedication. I give him that. But the love he had for Elaine, that what kept him going. But we all know that time passes differently in real world, but he's also in Purgatory. Still, his soul has held out this long. Willpower alone. But you give me your thoughts if you have any about these chapters.